Hello and welcome into another edition of Chatterbox Bengals. I'm Reed Mouse, and man, what an exciting day it is here in the Queen City, because our prince, our guy that's going to take us to the promised land, or so we believe at this point in our life, that Joe Burrow is returned to the team in limited capacity, and more importantly, perhaps for us media members, he's returned to the podium and had some things to say. And it's kind of a shocking move that he has come back this early. Obviously, we knew the timeline that he was pushing and progressing towards coming back this season, but I think most people anticipated him to come back for the final 3 games, at most the final 4 games. And here it is, November 10th, and he is out of the boot and is able to practice in some capacity. He's not going to play in the next week or two, but they have 21 days to activate him, and he has some thoughts on when he's going to come back, and I guess we'll start with that. So we're going to react to exactly what he said today at his press conference and kind of dig into what some of this could mean. So without further ado, let's hear from the man himself, JB9.
Would it be to, given your history in Baltimore, being a division game, to come back for that game?
Very.
Is that your target?
We'll see. We'll see how these next couple weeks go.
Beautiful. Would it be?
So that was vintage Joe. The thing I like about Joe, he's, for being one of the more popular players in the league, he shows you very little. He's almost coy when he's at the podium. He's frequently said he doesn't necessarily love the limelight. He seems to be kind of a recluse in that sorts. But that coy nature is what we've come to know when he's at these podiums. And they ask him, like, hey, when are you planning to come back? You've had some big Thursday night football games against the Baltimore Ravens, and you play on Thanksgiving. Is that when you're progressing? And he gives the coy answer, thinks long and hard about it, and goes, we'll see. Because I think there is a part of him that he genuinely doesn't know if he's going to get back by then. But just by his answers and by the fact that they're bringing him back on November 10th and at the beginning of this week and getting him some reps to where he can get 2.5 weeks of practice before that game, I think he knows deep down that he's wanting deeply to play there. He's very motivated to play. He said that himself. And I think he truly feels like he's going to play there. So I wouldn't get your hopes up too high, but throw it out the window. Get your hopes up high. I think Joe Burrow is going to be playing on that Thursday night football against the Ravens. Let's hope that it means a lot, because, man, that'd be incredible to see a December of Joe that takes us back to the promised land, somewhere that we thought we were always going to be but haven't been there recently. Let's hear another clip, and it is about, the Bengals, I guess, chances of making the postseason. Currently, they sit at 3-6. Obviously, had a huge dagger in losing each of the last 2 games. Very winnable games. Team against one of the worst teams in the league, the New York Jets, in a game that they led in the final minute and a half against the Chicago Bears. And let's hear from Joe Burrow about the Bengals' likelihood of making the postseason.
Yeah, our division is wide open. There's a lot of, I think Pittsburgh's 5-4 at this point. We play them this week. So, everything is still there in front of us. It's very rare that our division looks like this, but it does this year. And so, I think we'll be at least in it until the end.
Is it fair to say with the wild cards that the best path forward would be winning the North? And
I think it would be very difficult for us to be a wild card team at this point. Obviously, a lot of football to be played, but I think that's difficult. I think our best path would be win the division.
it can be easy to still be.
Yeah, he pretty much lays out what we already know. Even though the AFC as a conference is down this year, I think there's a lot of teams vying to be that best AFC team, where it's been the Chiefs, and if it wasn't the Chiefs, it was the Bills or the Ravens or even the Bengals for the past few years. It isn't the case this year. That being said, there is a large backup, and the Bengals are 3-6. Typically, you need to be 10-7 to make it as a wild card team, so they'd have to go 7-1 in their final 8 games. It doesn't seem likely. On the other hand, the promising proposition is that the AFC North isn't good. The Ravens are 4-5. They look to be playing better, but they still got a back end of their schedule that's kind of tough. The Steelers are 5-4, and they don't look to be all that great either. And on top of that, the Bengals play the Ravens twice and the Steelers once. Like when you're in a bad spot like the Bengals are in, they're 3-6 right now. When they're in a bad spot, all you can hope for is opportunities, is the chance to do something special. And part of those chances is doing tough things, which is playing the tough teams and beating the tough teams. And, the teams in your division. And pretty much any path forward for the Bengals to be playing in the middle of January on Wild Card weekend to win the division, whatever the case may be, would require them to win the AFC North, something that they've already started 2-0 in. They play the rest of the division 4 times, Browns at the end of the year, Ravens twice, Steelers once, and those are chances to get an 2-for-1. You don't have to ask for anybody's help. You just beat them, you get a win on your schedule, they get a loss, so be it. And if they can get to 9-8, and by getting to 9-8, they go 5-1 in the AFC North, or 6-0 in the AFC North, you start to very vividly see how the Bengals can make the postseason. But really the only path forward is by winning the AFC North. Luckily for them, they still got a lot of opportunity to make that happen, even after falling down 3-6. Let's look at another clip from Burrow. And this one's interesting because this is about just kind of how the Bengals have played this year. So here we go.
The offense wasn't rolling, and I thought the defense was playing pretty well. And then lately, seems like that has flip-flopped. But there's still guys doing good things. There's good stuff put on tape. It just feels like we haven't really put it all together. When you struggle that way, it's there's always guys doing good things, but the good things don't coincide with other people doing good things. So on offense, maybe your receivers are winning, but your O-line didn't hold up. Or maybe your O-line held up this time, or your receivers didn't win. On defense, it's, your guys covered well, but you didn't get any pressure. Or you got pressure, but the guys got open quickly. And so when you're struggling on offense or defense, the NFL has a lot of good players. There's going to be guys putting good stuff on tape. It just feels like we haven't really put it all together.
Yeah, the Bengals haven't put it all together. Early in the year, they were, take it back to week 1 when they beat the Browns. It's not an offensive juggernaut, but the defense did some nice things. And then there was another game where, the Bengals defense would do some nice things, get some turnovers and whatnot. And it was the offense led by Jake Browning that wasn't doing its job. And, this stinks to say, but that's the difference between good teams and bad teams. And the Bengals, although I have gained confidence throughout this season, or at least throughout the last week, that this team can be better than what they've shown over the last, 7 weeks where they've been embarrassed in 6 of them. I do have confidence this team can be a good team or a playoff caliber team, but we haven't seen it yet. And that's what I'm trying to say is the difference between good teams and bad teams in this league are cohesive play. Are you getting the turnovers and then turning that into points? Are you able to get a quick stop on defense and then a long drive on offense? Can, as Joe puts out there, when your wide receivers are getting space, can your linemen block for you long enough to get them the ball? When your edge rushers are getting to the quarterback, are your safeties and your linebackers coming up and not letting the quarterback run for 25 yards? You see what I'm saying here. You have to be a cohesive unit to win in this league. There's so many talented players. It's why the margins in this league, even for the good teams, and the Bengals aren't up at the top tier where the margins are bigger. They're right in the middle or below the middle where the margins are very, very thin. The margins across the league are thin. We've seen all the time good players look like all pros one game and then look like absolute scrubs the next. From season to season, we see that. The Bengals, the bad news is the Cincinnati Bengals, 9 weeks into this year, haven't shown a whole lot that make you think that this team is playoff caliber, AFC North champion caliber. But we also feel pretty confident in saying that this team hasn't played their best game yet. I don't think there's a single Bengals fan. I don't think there's a single person across the NFL, let alone at Paycor Stadium, that sees this team practice day in and day out, that says, oh, yeah, this team has played their best game. Maybe that Steelers game, and even then the defense gives up 30-plus points and the defense looks completely inept. This team has opportunities ahead of it, and I think its best football is ahead of them. I just hope that they're able to put it in consecutive weeks to where we can make this really interesting towards the back half of December. We got one more clip, and I think it's something interesting about the Joes, and that's Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco. And I think everyone was a little curious about kind of how that marriage would be, you know, having a big mentor, having someone that's had as much success as Joe Flacco's had in this league with Joe Burrow. And I think there's some things that us Bengals fans, as much as we love Joe Burrow, we want him to take away from Joe Flacco, you know, playing under center. Getting rid of the ball quickly. You don't always have to be the hero, even though you have the skill set to make some backyard plays happen. Sometimes we want to protect you, Joe. But I think this was interesting what he said about Joe Flacco and their relationship.
He's fun to be around. He's quiet sometimes. I think we have that in common. And he'll throw some off-the-wall stuff out there every once in a while that I like. That makes me laugh. And he's fun to be around. I'm happy that I've been able to have this experience and watching him do his thing and see how he operates. Yeah, he's fun to be around.
Yeah, I think even though you're one of the best players on the planet, and Joe Burrow, when he plays football, is undoubtedly one of the best football players on the planet. It's why he makes the Bengals relevant. The Bengals are the least valuable team in the NFL, and he makes them relevant just by his sheer ability. And when he's still able to learn something from a veteran, that's an invaluable piece. It's part of the reason that Joe Flacco is still wanted in this league. It's not just the fact that the boy can still spin it. There's no doubt about that, even at the age of 40. Just threw for 470 yards. He can still spin the ball. But these veterans have an intangible piece that they bring to the locker room every single day they're there, about how to present yourself as a professional, about how to conduct yourself at practice, about how to conduct yourself on the field. So, yeah, I mean, let's hope Joe Burrow comes back on that Thursday against the Baltimore Ravens, and we can make this thing really interesting. But, man, what a delightful surprise here on this Monday. That's this edition of Chatterbox Bengals. I'm Marine Mouse. We did a live reaction with Stone Shields and Craig Sandler earlier in today, so that's already up on your podcast feed. If you haven't been able to listen to that yet, go give that one a listen to. If you haven't seen it on our YouTube, go ahead and check that out. We'll be back with Off the Bench to Monday through Friday, 10 a to 11. The Stone Shield Show, 11 a to noon. And then, of course, we'll be doing Chatterbox Bengals just throughout the week. And the live watch-along this Sunday, as we've done every single week that the Bengals have played. I'll see you guys around. That does it for this edition. Chatterbox Bengals.